Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from beautiful Louisville, Kentucky. And back in beautiful Maryland, the land of pleasant living, is my good friend, esteemed colleague, and basketball expert extraordinaire, John Webster. John, how are you this evening?
Gary, I'm doing great, man. You're too kind with those compliments, man. I appreciate you. Everything's going great here. If we can just avoid these flood watch warnings, thunderstorm warnings, and any other warning. This weather is just unbelievable, man.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, we would be remiss
if
we didn't say hey to the traffic cop, the director of the show. John Pitt, how you doing?
Hey, guys, I'm doing good. How are you?
All right. Thank you for not putting bunny ears on us or devil's horns or anything else like that. Whew. John, there's a lot to digest here, but we're going to try to keep it real simple today since we're at the All-Star break, best time of year for us baseball fans, get to watch the All-Star game. We're going to probably get off of here in a little bit to watch the Home Run Derby featuring some of our favorite players, mine, Juan Soto of the Nationals. I forgot who's in it with those red-hot Baltimore Orioles.
There will be nobody from the Orioles in the Home Run Derby.
All right. But the way they're playing right now, there might be a guy in there next year. And John, let's just go right into it. Break up the Orioles. I mean, the 10-game winning streak is by the boards, but they are baseball's hottest team still. And maybe baseball's best story. I mean, we've joked on this numerous times about the fortunes or misfortunes of the Orioles the past few years, but almost overnight, John, they seem to have righted the ship. They seem to have gotten it together, and they're making this young group, come together. And let me say on the record with the camera rolling and everything, you were right about this team really having a chance to pull it together. I give credit where credit is due. I had my doubts just because of the division that they were in. I had doubts really just because of where the organization was. But they're getting the job done. I can't say it's spit and polish or smoke and mirrors or anything else. They're just playing good, hard-nosed baseball. And the thing is, they didn't just catch fire all of a sudden and, they're on this, the winning streak is really a manifestation of things that they've been doing all season. And I think there was a point in mid-May where I thought, well, they're within 10 games of 500. That's actually pretty respectable. That's a sign of a team on the rise, really putting it together. But, June and July really have been a great 6 weeks for them. And, here they are. And we're even talking about a wild card consideration. John, you're an expert on the Orioles. I'm going to let you have it. Explain how we have gotten to this point where people are paying attention in Baltimore and outside.
Gary, I'll say this. They're 46-46 at the All-Star break. Who would ever thunk that? And you know what else, my friend? They could go on a swoon and horrendous slump. I will be disappointed, but I'll still be proud of what they have done this year. Nobody expected them to be where they are right now. And the other sign of a team that's turned the corner, 10-game winning streak. And I'm sitting here saying it should be 13 because they lost 2 walk-offs to Minnesota. They should have beat the Rays this past Friday night. They had that one. You had your ace on the mound. You had Spencer. It was Tyler Wells. You had Tyler Wells on the mound. That's your ace. And they had it. But it got away from in the 8th, a fluky home run. But that's when you realize you got something. I'm sitting here complaining about, I should have had 13 in a row instead of 10 in a row. That's when you realize they're turning the corner. They're playing great ball. You're getting good pitching. You got Jordan Lyles. You got Spencer Watkins. You got Tyler Wells. You got 3. And then your bullpen, Dylan Tate. You got Clay, what's his name? Klaber, I think it is. Then you got lights out with Batista, and then you got Lopez closing, and he's had some troubles, but hey, Brandon Hyde is stuck with him. They're doing well. Mountcastle is tearing the ball up. The outfield, my goodness, when you got Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, and Anthony Santander in the outfield, and Ryan McKenna is your fourth outfielder, I'm happy. The only thing that I wish, Gary, is this. Is there anybody I can petition to have the Orioles removed from the American League East and placed in the National League East or the American League Central? Because let me tell you this, Gary. They finished the All-Star break before the All-Star break with the Cubs and the Rays. I said I would take 2 out of 5. They got 3 out of 5. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But guess who they have 3 games against starting on Friday? The Yankees.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get tired of seeing the Yankees, the Red Sox, Tampa Bay, and Toronto. And the amazing thing is,
really, that's what I am amazed.
I mean, they're not going to play all of them right out of the chute. They're going to start with the Yankees.
But we're talking about rivalries and such, John. That's why I'm a little shocked.
Well, Gary, you see if you want to play the Yankees 19 times and play the Red Sox 19 times.
But they always have, John. So, let's see. I can think not too long ago where they were playing those 19 games against those very same teams. Remember, it wasn't long ago. They won the division and then earned the wild card playing that same killer schedule. I mean, it's not just a tradition, but, I think in essence, playing those games, even though the Yankees have owned them, especially at Camden Yards, from what I recall, that, those are the things where you said the things that don't kill us make us tougher. And maybe that's what we're seeing with this team this year, that, they start to believe, they start to win games that they're not supposed to win. And then they start to believe, they're going to blow a few, like you said, but, it's a tough division to get to the top. I mean, I'm looking at the standings as we speak. They're 18 games back, but only 3.5 out of the wild card.
Is there any other division? Is there any other division in baseball where all the teams in that division are 500 or better?
No, I mean that's the only one, and that's the thing that's really impressive about the Orioles. I mean, it's like, okay, looking at this right now, if they were in the Central, they'd be 3 games out of first place behind Minnesota. If they were in the National League East at 500, let's see, they would be in 4th place in the division that the Nationals are bringing up the rear. If they were in the NL Central, they'd be in 3rd place. But the thing is, John, because the AL is what it is, 3.5 games behind in the wild card is something nobody, and I mean nobody, would have expected. And that's the thing, you always say you got to crawl before you walk. This team has figured it out. Now, as for this swoon, there was this thing in baseball not too long ago called the June swoon for teams that would start off hot and then kind of hit the wall in June when they would run up against that division schedule. Thanks to interleague play, thanks to, I guess, what do they call it, the unbalanced schedule or something, that you see more of those series spread out. So it's not so much a killer schedule like they would face in June. And maybe that's the thing that's allowed them to mature and get better. But, the way they're playing right now, that schedule coming out of the break, really, I really want to see how they handle that, because let's just say, they get past Tampa, Boston, New York at 500, or maybe within a game of 500. Anybody will take that at that part. And also keep in mind, John, to have 46 wins by the All-Star break. When did they hit 40? When did they win 40 games last year? What was it, by maybe early September or something like that, or late August?
Did they even win 40 games last year?
I think they they probably won like 52 games or something like that. I mean, I want to say they won at least 50 games, but we're talking about late in the season that that they reached that.
It's a total different element that they have this year. One of the other things that I've really liked and enjoyed, Adley Rushman has come up. He's doing a magnificent job handling the pitchers. He's starting to get his hitting together. It's spotty, but you expect that from a rookie. You don't expect him to come up and tear the hide off the ball each and every game. He had a rough game on Friday night, but then he turned around on Saturday and I think he hit a home run and, did a really good job. And they pulled out a big win on Saturday. And how he handles the pitchers, simply really, really great. Really, really great. I'm just happy with him, Gary. I'm thrilled. What I'm going to start doing, I haven't done to you yet. After some of these wins, I'm going to send you the video song I have, Oreo Magic, so you can sing it. I just need you to learn the words.
Oh, gosh. You're pulling that one back up, John? Really?
Yes. I tell you, man, everybody knows I'm a big Orioles fan. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. And I stick with them, which no matter what. Exactly. And it really feels great when I get calls like I got last week from people like, hey, John, they're hanging in, they're doing okay. Congrats, John, look at them. Eventually things do turn around. It takes a little while, and it's still a long way to go before they are completely turned around. But I like what they're doing. They had a great draft pick last night. They got Jackson Holliday, which is Matt Holliday's son. That's a shortstop for the future. They need a shortstop. They need a second baseman. They have an outfield. You got a great bullpen, and you have some semblance of a pitching staff. John Means is coming back next year after Tommy John surgery. And you have a catcher for the ages. They're getting there, my friend. They're getting there.
Yeah. Well, John, here's the encouraging thing to look at with the Orioles. They are 2/3 through the schedule. I guess what was it? Yeah, we're talking about 92 games. You're only talking about another 60, 64 games or something like that. I see the potential. I mean, one thing we know, they're not going to lose 100 games for sure. We didn't say that before, but with 64 games left in the schedule, I think their chances of finishing 500 are a lot better than not finishing 500. I'm not going to say they'll finish with a winning record because again, some teams could hit a tailspin. But a lot, of course, will depend on the trade deadline, who trades up, who fills voids, especially in the East Division. As we look at the Yankees really don't have any weaknesses, any discernible weaknesses that we could see. And it's just a matter of, who's going to finish second behind them, not so much in the Eastern Division, but in the American League, to get that other home field advantage. But, again, just based on what we've seen, these last 2 weeks with the Orioles, there's no reason to think that even with having to face those heavyweights in the division, that they can't, get through that at least somewhere close to 500. I mean, that's not just, they say, a one-time Orioles fan talking. I mean, I think realistically, just looking at what they've done this season to put that team together and the way that they played, everything you've talked about, the managing the bullpen, his substitutions, his strategy, even with this evil shift that's on throughout Major League Baseball that's ruining the game. They've figured it out, or they are figuring it out.
All I can say is this to you, Gary, is just 2 words. Oreo Magic.
Yeah, feel it happen. I remember. And for what it's worth, John, I tease you about the Orioles a lot, because you are the eternal optimist. And I mean, I was a huge Orioles fan. They are still one of the teams I follow. I still have the pennants and and shirts and caps and everything. I mean, honestly, I swung my allegiance over to the Nationals because I grew up on the Senators, and much like you, baseball will always be my first sport. That will always be my love, even though I couldn't play it with a daggone, but it was always my first sport. And when the Senators left town, I became a huge Orioles fan. I hurt after that 79 series. I mean, that really, really hurt. I hurt after that 88 season, and I was there to cover them 89, 90, 92, all, and even, in 96, talking about another painful year. So I'm just glad to see it happen. Now, like I said, all they've got to do is reclaim Camden Yards from the Yankees. And really, I think they just have to play well enough to keep the fans interested. And I can't remember, I think it wasn't, well, of course, I'm just getting back from Chicago, and they were in town last week playing the Cubs. I didn't get a chance to see the game. I couldn't talk somebody I knew into going because they're White Sox fans. But I think, with this team, it's fun to see the interest that they're getting outside of baseball because, you've got so many also-rans. Baltimore didn't used to be considered a small market team, but now they are. And I want to see them continue this to keep the fans in their own backyard, coming in. It was not even a month ago, John, we talked about them being rumored, possibly moving to Nashville, as that stirred up, and they did not do anything to help themselves by quelling those rumors. But winning cures everything. I hope it continues, even if they finish close to 500, or don't make the playoffs, John. I want to see fans continue to support this team because they've given them something to watch. So what's the excuse?
Well, like I said, Gary, I'm happy. I'm thrilled. And my old saying, I'm happy as a pig in slop in Salisbury. So let's see what happens the rest of the way. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, one other thing before we move on to NBA free agency. How do you see these divisions working out, John, in all honesty?
Well, the American League East, I see the Yankees. In the Central, I think Minnesota or Cleveland. Minnesota, Cleveland. I think the White Sox have the most talent, but they're not going to. They aren't going to pull it off.
They're inconsistent. They're very, very inconsistent.
In the West, I know Seattle has the shot at the last wild card. Who is in first place in the West in the American League?
Houston.
Dusty Baker. I got to go with him. I love Dusty. National League, you already know who my team is there because of who the manager is. It's the Mets. I love Buck Showalter. He was an Oriole. So I'm going with the Mets there. National League Central, I think Milwaukee's in first, but I'm going with the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals will catch them. I love St. Louis Cardinals. I love their fans. I just love watching them play baseball in Busch Stadium. They are great fans. And out west, the Dodgers. And I just think the Padres will self-destruct again this year.
I'm surprised that, okay. I mean, it's hard to say a team's going to self-destruct when they're already 10 games back. It's really just a matter of now. Well, okay. The encouraging thing for San Diego, they are up 2 games in the wild card race. I don't think they'll self-destruct from that. They just have to stay healthy. That is their biggest thing, John.
Last year,
if they can. Was it losing Tatis when they did? That was a big blow.
That, and then the front office pulled a move. Didn't they fire a pitching coach or something like that?
That was a panic move,
and that helped to put them down the toilet. because they panicked. And, I look at Machado there, Tatis, they're two of the better players in the National League as well as in baseball. But I just don't think they have what it takes. I don't even think they'll make the wild card, Gary. I think they'll end up losing that too.
Well, I think a lot just depends on the runner-ups in the other divisions. I mean, if you're talking about Atlanta and Philly in the East, getting it together, St. Louis. Well, you figure no matter what happens in the NL Central with St. Louis and Milwaukee, one of those two teams will probably be in that wild card. It's just a matter of getting that next wild card spot. And I do think San Diego has enough to hold on. Again, they just can't afford another one of those late season collapses like they did that took them out of contention.
I'm still saying the Cardinals will win the National League Central. They will overtake.
John, I can't argue with you. I mean, that they have been the class of that division, but Milwaukee is still tough. It wouldn't surprise me if they battled them down to the end. Hey, let's move on to the NBA a little bit. We've had a little bit of time to digest some of the free agent signings, mostly teams that have kept their own free agents, such as Washington with Bradley Beal, Portland with Damian Lillard. I guess we'll just go right into that. What do you think that means for those two teams going forward? And I'd say more for Portland. And what I bring up is the discussion that, yeah, it's nice that they were able to keep their own guys, but will that take those teams forward? I mean, it's, is there any reason to really feel good about their chances going forward? I'll let you start.
Well, Portland, they kept Lillard. They let McCollum go during the season, but they need to put some more parts around Lillard. They had Lillard and what's the center's name? Jurkic, and
yeah, something like that.
They don't have enough. I give Lillard a lot of credit. On top of being one of the best players in the league, he's very loyal. He wants to win a championship in Portland, something they haven't done since the big redhead, Bill Walton, did it.
So, well, it's, John, it's been more recent than that. Remember, those were the teams going up against the Pistons and the Bulls back in the day.
But if I'm not mistaken, they didn't win the championship.
No, but you're talking about a team that's been competitive. I mean, that's been in the last 20 years. Yeah, they have not won a championship since 1977, but we're talking about being competitive right now.
They will be competitive, but that fan base wants a championship. And how much longer can you continue to tell Lillard, you're the cornerstone, but you don't bring any other stones to his corner? How much longer can you do that? How much longer? He wants a championship. And eventually, what I hope doesn't happen, he gets traded at the end of his career when he doesn't have much left in the gas tank. His knees are gone, his ankles are gone, his feet are gone. That's what I hope. I hope does not happen. He deserves an opportunity, but there's not enough around him to get that opportunity. Now, Gary, what's the other team? I forgot that quick. What's the other team you said in this?
Your Washington Wizards and Bradley Beal.
Not enough. They still don't have a point guard. You got Kuzma, you got Porzingis, you got Beal, and who's the fourth? Oh, Rouye. Yeah. Hashimura. All right, you got four players and you don't have a point guard. And before you ask me, Gary, let me be very clear. No, Bradley Beal is not a point guard. So they try to put him in that position. And what happens with Beal, the team stops and wants to watch him put on a dribbling show so he can get his shot. He's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard. And he's a doggone good shooting guard. But I don't think they have enough. And you got to keep in mind, Gary, the NBA East, okay, you're talking Boston. You're talking Milwaukee. You're talking Miami. You're talking Philadelphia. I haven't even mentioned Toronto. I haven't even mentioned the Brooklyn Nets. I haven't even mentioned the Atlanta Hawks, the Bullets, or the Wizards, whichever you would like to call them. They need to be able to get past the 4th seed. The teams I named, are they good enough to be a 4 seed? I don't think so. I think at best, they are a play-in team again, at best, what I see. I'll use the same scenario. Bradley Beal is the cornerstone. What other stones are you bringing to his corner? And the thing that they have failed to do, and I say failed, you have got Porzingis, and I like Porzingis. You have Beal, and I like Beal. You have Kuzma. I like Kuzma. I like Hashimura. But you still do not have a point guard. Everybody says I'm crazy. I would have gone back to yesteryear. I would have tried to have gotten John Wall to come back. Yes, I said it. Yes, everybody thinks I'm crazy. You need a point guard. You need a point guard. You have all that firepower, but you have no one to distribute the ball. No one. And they're going to struggle. They are going to struggle. I will be kind, Gary. They can be a 6 seed. They can be a 6. That's about as far as I can go. Unless
John, you're more optimistic than me. And I'm surprised to even hear you say that. I'm thinking, a 7th or an 8th seed, what is it now? What is 9th or is 7th through 11th, play,
7 through 10 is the play-in.
7 through 10.
And remember what I said, Gary, I'm being nice saying 6. I don't think they can get a 6. I think they are a play-in team. They're a play-in team.
The thing about keeping your own free agents, while it like you said, it keeps a cornerstone, but what other stones are you bringing to the corner? I think what I want to see with both teams is what they do in free agency. Now, the elephant in the room is a certain guy from Prince George's County who's currently on the roster up in Brooklyn, who I'm going to say he shall remain nameless. I don't want to hear any talk about bringing him to DC. I really don't, because it ain't happening. I can't see him going to a team that doesn't have a chance. I mean, he could be that guy, like he tried to be in New Jersey and, be the man up there. But you saw how quickly that collapsed behind, more factors than we can list here. We've already discussed that. And like I said, I'm not going to mention any names. But for anybody that thinks that they're going to pony up that kind of money or pony up those kind of draft picks and make a trade for him, it's not happening. It would be nice if he were here. I don't even know if he's a good fit. You can disagree with me, John. I understand that, but I still say he's already established a pattern of going to a team where it's, where he fits in. I don't think he's at a point where he's going to lead a team, but I think anybody that signs him, and let me say this, I am still not convinced that person leaves Brooklyn, New York.
This nameless person that you're talking about from Prince George's County, don't be surprised at the end of the day when the dust clears, he will still be in Brooklyn, but Kyrie Irving may not. Don't be surprised.
Oh,
don't be surprised.
I'm not surprised at that. I mean,
let me give you the rest of the scenario.
Sailed on. John, that ship has definitely sailed. I think that is an untenable situation for both of them.
Irving may end up somewhere else. I think the only place he will end up, though, is the Lakers. And they're trying to figure out a trade. That's the only team that wants him. I mean, Irving needs to face facts. The Lakers are bidding against themselves. Nobody else wants Kyrie Irving right now. Not for the dollar amount you got to put out there for it. And he's a dynamite player. He's a great player. But at the end of the day, what will happen? Will he show up to the game? Will he not show up to the game? Will there be an issue that concerns him? Will there not be an issue that concerns him? very smart kid, great player, a lot going on in his life, but sometimes I think he wants to be the smartest person in the room. And sometimes when you end up being the smartest person in the room, you can trick your own self. And I think he's maybe putting himself in a trick bag. The other guy that you don't want to name, he could end up right there.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe he could end up in Miami. The thing that's hurting in trying to make a trade for Durant, well, I'm sorry, I said his name. Gobert.
See, I didn't want to mention his name because I didn't want to stir up any, a false hope about, oh yeah, that's who they should go after. Because I've heard it on numerous talk shows. It's just not happening.
It can't happen. And the other thing is, the Gobert trade has really flip-flopped the trade market. So I think Gobert went to, where did he go?
Minnesota.
Indiana. He went to Indiana.
I thought it was Minnesota.
Okay, Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minnesota. Yeah. And it was 5 first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be clear. He is a good center. He's a good rim protector. He is not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is hands down better than him. So if you're giving up 5 picks for Gobert, what are you going to give up for Kevin Durant?
I mean, you basically mortgage your entire future for the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion. I mean, even if you space those draft picks out, every other year, and at this point, how old is Durant? What, 31, 32, 34. I don't see it. It's just not worth it. And this is what I want to see from Durant. He's open to a trade. I mean, I've heard Miami as a destination, but see, now he's got to prove. He said he wants to be the man and lead a team. 2/3 of that team that you had hoped to be together, of the super, the big three, one is gone, one is playing in Philadelphia. You said Irving might be playing in Los Angeles. Now is a chance for Durant to really step up and lead a team like he has been telling us for years he can do. Not go to a ready-made situation like Miami or any other team. And again, as much as I know local fans would love to see him, in a red, white, and blue, I think his best shot at a title still is in the black and white of Brooklyn. And again, that's where now it's up to him. He's got no excuses. It will fall to him. It should fall to him. And let's see if he can make other players better. They've got some work to do. Hopefully they can make a trade that gives him the pieces that that he needs to go back to being a contender, which they weren't this year.
You said it all, Gary. You said it all. Like I said, at the end of the day, don't be surprised if he's still in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So, John, you got any housekeeping items before we sign off here?
No, none this week, man. I just had a good week watching sports and looking forward to getting past this all-star break and enjoying some more baseball, man. So, hey, I can't wait.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I've got a few Cincinnati Reds games that I want to go to. Might make another trip up to Chicago to possibly see the White Sox. And yeah, I said the White Sox to see whether they can take the Central. But for this week, I think I'm going to try to finish out my week watching the World Track and Field Championships, which have already been interesting. They are probably interesting as we speak. But right now, I'm going to sign off and watch the Home Run Derby, just like you. Watch my man Juan Soto and see what he can do for as long as he's in Washington. Well, we still have him for another 2.5 years, even though he reportedly turned down a $440 million 15-year contract. He's upset about that. But again, that's something we can talk about next week because I've heard rumors that he could be traded by the deadline. I think if the Nationals do that, even though we probably would get them a bunch of prospects, that basically kills baseball as we know it in DC, whether they stay there or not. I don't think any team, nobody's really talking about them moving or anything else like that. But baseball as we know it in DC would die if they got rid of him at the trade deadline.
Gary, all I'll say is this, and then I know you got to sign off. There's room on my bus for you to come on up to Camden Yards, my friend.
Can I defer that ticket for a minute?
Nah, gotta get on now. You remember the song? Get on board. Train's coming.
Let's just see how that train makes it through New York and Tampa and Boston. All right.
We'll see.
But they are going to be. I am going to be paying attention because it will bring back some memories from 1989. That will always be one of the best years to ever watch baseball in Baltimore when Frank was managing. And I mean, he lifted them from, what was it, like 120 loss team or something? That was, I mean, as bad as 88 was, 1989 was probably the best turnaround I think I've ever seen as a fan and as a sports writer.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
Well, John, it's been fun. We've had another good session talking about sports. Hey, good luck to your Orioles. Good luck to Notre Dame and there's soon to be a conference in the Big Ten. It's just a matter of time, John. Yeah, it's just a matter of time, John. Just accept it for what's going to happen. I mean, is this not a big? Let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay. Well, where's the Big Ten emblem on that? Prove yourselves against the Ohio States, the Ohio State, and Michigan and Iowas of the world.
Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for joining in with us. Gary is failing to sign off properly. Hope y'all had a good time with us.
We don't have a bad connection. You heard every word I said.
Take care. We'll see y'all again soon. Take care. Bye.
All right. Tell your friends, tell your family. Watch us on Facebook. Watch us on YouTube. Until next time, out.